I cannot express deeply enough my gratitude and thanks for your support of the Tidewell Foundation and all of the missions that we serve. I also want to thank Delisa Morris and the Tidewell Foundation team for making today a very, very special occasion that is sure to touch us all. It is also my privilege to acknowledge all of the veterans with us this afternoon and to their supporting family members. Over the years, many of you have entrusted your loved ones to the care of our Tidewell Honors Veterans Program. What an honor it is for Tidewell to serve veterans in this special way. All veterans committed their lives to the protection of our freedoms in America that we enjoy today. For that, we are eternally grateful and thank you. I'd like to recognize another special veteran today, and that's a former Commander-in-Chief, President Jimmy Carter. I'm sure that everyone has heard that the President is under hospice care. U.S. presidents have the influence and stage to send impactful messages to the nation and to the world. What a testament it is to the former President Jimmy Carter that he wants to raise death, dying, and the benefits of hospice care into the American conversation. Hospice is so privileged to be a part of the mission and the movement to provide President Carter and his family with the care, comfort, and compassion that patients and families receive. Thank you, Mr. President. Finally, I also want to thank my wife, Amy, and my sons, Nathan and Colin, who are with me today. I'm so grateful for your support of my life's work here at Empath and Tidewell. Now, may we chat for a few minutes about where our organization has been and where we are headed. As a member of Empath Health, Tidewell Hospice has accomplished a great deal over these past few years. We have served the community's hospice needs through a global pandemic, unusual economic and inflationary challenges, and a devastating hurricane that impacted countless families and communities across Southwest Florida. Empath and Tidewell were there. As Maverick mentioned a few weeks ago in January, I was honored to become the CEO of Empath Health and its family of companies following the distinguished retirement of Raphael Shulo. When Tidewell and Suncoast Hospice Pinellas came together in 2021, Raphael and I envisioned a future of Empath Health and its affiliates that would allow us to continue to innovate, grow, meet new community needs, provide extraordinary care, all under a new mission of providing what we call full life care for all. Today, through our umbrella of companies and services, Empath Health is currently serving over 26,000 people a day. Our mission map ranges from Ocala to Naples, Florida. And while Empath Health has become one of the largest not-for-profit hospice and home health organizations in the country, our overarching goal is not to be the biggest. Our purpose is to deepen our mission of services, unified in empathy, not only with hospice and palliative care, but also home health, geriatric primary care, elder care, and numerous other community programs, including innovative grief and bereavement services. We are creating deeper, richer connections with patients, families, and communities, and a more robust system of care to connect and serve people as they age or recover from a life-changing event. Full life care also includes things like the provision of durable medical services and equipment to the home, infusion and pharmacy services to the home, advanced therapies, and expanding services to those with HIV/AIDS in our region, with partners like CAN and others. Full life care is also about helping to create full life moments for the people that we serve through many volunteer service programs, veteran services, complementary therapies such as Reiki, massage, art. You heard from our beautiful Jasmine, musical therapist, pet therapy, and so much more. We could not do this without the incredible colleagues and dedicated clinicians and support team. That is my job, to support them and give them all of the resources that they need to fulfill these missions. If you are a member of the Empath Health family and a colleague or on the clinical side or support, please stand up and be recognized. I'd like for you to all imagine a day when patients and families across Florida face serious, advanced, or terminal illness, or a life-changing event such as heart attack or stroke. And Empath Health's expansive integrated network of care under one blanket of care navigates Floridians through a unified and extraordinary healthcare experience. That is the future that we are building across Florida and in our community as Empath's Full Life Care for All. Yet even as we expand well beyond what hospice care is best known for, we remain deeply committed to the legacy upon which patients, families, and our community have trusted and supported as donors, each and every one of you who support what we do. The Tidewell Foundation was established in 2020, our 40th anniversary year. So I'm correcting the number of years we've been in service, 43 years to provide perpetual support to Tidewell Hospice and our other not-for-profit affiliates across Empath. Tidewell Foundation connects us more powerfully to the community where we have established our Tidewell Hospice legacy for providing world-class care, again, for over 43 years. No one should have to face a significant health event alone. You can rest assured that the Empath Health integrated network of care, Tidewell Hospice, and the Tidewell Foundation will always, always be by your side. We will be connected and in service to the people who matter the most to you. And hopefully this will be a little familiar for those that watch our wonderful TV messages that we are trying to get out. Empath Health, here for the full life. Before my next introduction and we move on with our program, I would like to take a brief moment to recognize two very special people with us today. Marge Maisto and Jerry Radford. Both are special guests of Caldwell Trust at their table right before me. Marge actually recruited me to serve many years ago, 15 to be exact, to be a Tidewell Hospice volunteer board member. That was who we are back then. We've come a long way, haven't we, Marge? And Jerry and I had the pleasure of working together when he was CEO and I was a board member, and it's been quite a journey, and we owe you all so very, very much, as do I, in my journey. But the reason I'm really calling them out today in honor of today's program is, as two former Tidewell CEOs, each of them are the roots and the planting of the seed that we are recognizing today, and that's the Tidewell Honors Veterans Program. They are the ones that we truly need to thank for planting this seed that has blossomed now into not just a tree, but a forest that has served and touched so many. Thank you both. For casting that vision, and it is now a nationally recognized program that many other organizations emulate. So, in closing, I have the great pleasure of introducing Jan Miller, Senior Executive Vice President and Trust Officer of Caldwell Trust Company, our yet again exclusive Signature Luncheon sponsor. But Jan is much more than a sponsor, so take your time, Jan. She is the Vice Chair of Empath Health, Legacy Board Chair of Tidewell Hospice and the former Stratum Health System, and she is a founding member of the Tidewell Foundation Board. But perhaps most importantly to me, Jan, I thank you not only for your never-ending commitment as a human being, but also for your trusted and deeply valued mentorship, friendship, and as an incredible board member that makes me a better leader. Thank you so much, Jan Miller.
Thank you, Jonathan. This was not the moment to leave me speechless. It's very meaningful to me to see so many of you here today demonstrating support for Tidewell Hospice and our veterans programs. Caldwell has a long history of supporting Tidewell and honoring veterans. Honoring and preserving legacy is very important to us. It's likely that every person in this room has some connection to a veteran. It's one of the things that connects us as a country. My father was called to serve twice, first in World War II and then in Korea. In 2019, Kelly and Melissa Caldwell hosted a fundraiser for the Venice Middle School Young Marines to raise money for the troop to travel to Normandy to participate in the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Kelly and Melissa served as escorts so the students could experience firsthand the route that our brave soldiers took in their efforts to liberate Europe. Some of you in the audience may recognize this, maybe even had one. It's a POW MIA bracelet from the Vietnam War, and many a teenage girl wore one in the 70s. These bracelets were engraved with the name of either a prisoner of war or a soldier missing in action. And you would wear your bracelet until your soldier either returned home or was accounted for. My soldier, Lieutenant Commander Roderick Mayer, was from Lewiston, Idaho. He was a naval officer in the fighter squadron assigned to the USS Independence. On October 17, 1965, his F-4B Phantom jet was hit by enemy artillery over northeast Hanoi. He was 26 years old. He successfully ejected before the jet crashed. Originally listed as missing in action, Lieutenant Commander Roderick Mayer has still never been accounted for. Everyone leaves a legacy that deserves to be shared and honored. It's what Tidewell does with families as they help patients transition at the end of a life well lived. Every time Caldwell Trust helps a client carry out their estate plan, another legacy is preserved for their family and their community. Isn't that what we all want? Isn't that the way it's meant to be? Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Maverick just mentioned, I'm Delisa Morris, the interim president of the Tidewell Foundation. In my opinion, we live in the greatest country in the world, and it's our veterans and our armed forces that we have to thank for keeping us free. It's wonderful to be with people who appreciate and support hospice and who celebrate our veterans. We recognize and revere the service and sacrifice of our military and their families. We present this luncheon in your honor. Thank you for being here. We've already had some wow moments, and I assure you there's more to come. In December of last year, I began leading the Tidewell Foundation. This is my first Signature Luncheon, but for many of you, this is your 14th Signature Luncheon, and that inspires me. It's my honor to be part of a team from Tidewell Foundation board and staff to the spectrum of Tidewell and Empath colleagues. Each one is dedicated to our important mission of helping people and families in our community. A special thanks to our donors whose generosity allows Tidewell to be the angels on earth we hear about so often. And as so many of you know firsthand, Tidewell's care and compassion is unparalleled. Thank you also to our generous and longtime event sponsor, Caldwell Trust, and to Northern Trust. An additional thank you to our corporate sponsor and partner in excellence, Dignity Memorial, and to our partner in compassion, All Trust. Their support as donors and advocates makes our work possible. Let's not forget our generous Signature Luncheon sponsors that are listed in the program. Thank you to our Signature Luncheon Committee. Their ideas, passion, and enthusiasm carry us forward. I want to also recognize Mary Keneally Events and Tidewell Foundation Special Events Manager, Shannon Johnson, for their many hours of dedicated work and preparation for this day. I'm happy to report they're still smiling. Maverick, we are so pleased that you joined us this year, and thank you for sharing your story. On behalf of veterans in our community, they thank you as well. My heartfelt thanks goes to Jonathan Fleece and Amy Fleece. They're a power couple whose personal and emotional investment in Tidewell and our community is exemplary. Thank you. Most of you know the Tidewell name. Many of you have entrusted Tidewell Hospice with care for a loved one. We thank you for that. The Tidewell Foundation exists for a very important reason: to provide philanthropic support to Tidewell Hospice and other not-for-profit Empath Health affiliates. We cannot do it alone. We need you. Yes, we here at Tidewell Foundation spend a lot of time talking about fundraising, but we see our role as brightening lives and lifting spirits. If that sounds strange, let me explain. When Tidewell Hospice is invited to the lives of patients and families, it's a difficult time for them. It's imperative that patients and families are met with remarkable care, with comfort and compassion. It's mission critical that our patients and families realize they are supported by an incredible team of therapists, social workers, nurses, spiritual counselors, volunteers who help carry the weight of this final journey. So many of you know exactly what I mean. At the Tidewell Foundation, we want to ensure that everyone in the community who needs the care of Tidewell Hospice receives it. This is regardless of their ability to pay. We are committed to this end. And with donor support, with your support, we can do that. Donors also help ensure that patients have access to special complementary services such as art, music, and massage therapy that help relieve pain and anxiety and support the quality of life. We're especially pleased to support free grief care for our community, including the Blue Butterfly program for children and their caregivers. The grief care programs are open to anyone in the community in need of evidence-based care that Tidewell provides. Tidewell Foundation also grants wishes. Wishes create one lasting special memory. And finally, Tidewell Foundation supports veterans. Our Tidewell Honors Veterans Program recognizes special healthcare needs of veterans and their military families. To this end, we'd like to share a short video to help you understand better Tidewell Foundation's Veterans Program.
Everybody that puts on a uniform has served a function and a purpose, and that is all geared toward a mission. And at the end of life, where the patient, the veteran, is on his final mission, they, to me, become even more important.
Just a very intimate, very emotional time for them. And to have that connection with somebody towards the end of life, it's really a blessing.
The pinning ceremonies are rooted in that thanking veterans for their service. We pin about 500 patients a year, and we send a veteran volunteer to their home, assisted living, nursing home, or place of residence, and they read a very simple script. The language very much mirrors ceremonies in the military that individual would have been familiar with. It includes a salute, it includes that veteran identifying who they are, where they served, and how they connect that way, and the placing of a pin on the lapel or depending on their clothing.
It is one of the most unique things that happens to our veteran patients, and they certainly are worthy and deserving of it. A great many of them that I have done are World War II decorated combat veterans, and some Vietnam veterans also, and particularly the Vietnam veterans haven't been thanked for much of anything. I have met some of the absolutely most incredible people that I have ever met in my life. Combat troops that have served in World War II, a Pearl Harbor survivor, Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. I had the privilege of pinning a gentleman several months ago, and he had been a Navy fighter pilot. The last mission that he flew, they were shot down. He and his crewmate were shot down. And the gentleman I was pinning spent 5 years and 7 months in the Hanoi Hilton. And anybody that remembers the Hanoi Hilton, that was not a vacation.
Our veterans, they've served our country. When they signed their name on a line, they signed for their lives. Just recognizing and being thankful for what they've given to us, or what they offered to give for us and for our country, is just very special.
To be able to have that last salute, that last thank you, that last appreciative point of view from, be it a veteran, a Tidewell member, and it also shows us. Sometimes people are so caught up in normal day life that we forget that these people sacrificed so much. They lost their brothers, their sisters in And to have that community and that last thank you with someone who understands is exactly what this program is looking to do. And I know a lot of them have spoken to us, and they're ready to see their brothers and sisters that they lost overseas.
As some of our patients, when you would read a medical chart, you would read they're bedbound, they're comatose, they haven't eaten, they haven't spoke in days, a week, not responsive. When that veteran comes in and delivers that ceremony, we see hands raised to try to return a salute. We've seen tears come out of the eye. We've seen eyes open. We've seen a grab of the hand.
One of the first pinnings that I did, the patient, because of his illness, was unable to communicate. He understood, he heard, but he wasn't able to say what was on his mind. So his communication was a grunt and a point. And he then turned to his son and was pointing and grunting for the scrapbook that he had. And he laid it in my lap, and he would turn to pages and point to a picture. And his wife's challenge was to tell me the story behind that photograph. And if he did not like the story the way she told it, he got angry and grunted and pointed in an angry fashion. And she would retell the story until he was satisfied with what she was saying. And this went on and on for 15 or 20 minutes, and he was relating to a veteran. So I got up and I stood in front of him and put my hand out, and real firm, long, solid handshake. And I told him, I said, I want to thank you for your service. And this gentleman looked up at me, and as clearly as we're speaking here this morning, he said, you are welcome in my home at any time. His wife stood up and came over and put her arms around me. She said, those are the first words that we heard him speak in almost 8 weeks. To be able to recognize what a person has done, not for themselves, not for their family, but for their country, at a time when in many instances they've never been thanked for what they did, it brings an amount of joy to the family and to the patient to hear those words verbalized.